I'm Miss Laurie.
And I'm Miss Jackie.
And we're going to teach you how to do teacher-directed Play-Doh play. And we do that typically at our pre-K time. So when you sit your 12-ish kids sitting down at the table, you're going to pass out the Play-Doh. And as you're walking around table to table, you're talking about the week. H week, A week, whatever the week might be. And once you get your Play-Doh all passed out, they're supposed to be holding it so it's warming. Because a lot of times we take our Play-Doh out and it's cold. So it gives them an intent to do, something to do while they're waiting for it to start. So what's going to happen, the first thing is to build up the fine motor skills in their hands. We definitely want to be squeezing it. So you're going to tell them to take their nice warm ball and put it in their right hand. If they don't quite do the right hand, that's quite okay. And then they're going to squeeze it until it's squeezing out of their fingers. Harder, harder, harder. And then you put it in the left hand. So as they're putting it from left to right, they're crossing the midline and they're building up the muscles in their hands. You're going to tell them to stop doing this exercise when you feel your very own fingers feeling the workout. So until then, you're going to do it. Sometimes it could be many, many times.
And sometimes it's just how long you can get the kids to keep going back and forth, working those muscles too.
Or harder, harder, harder. Squish it out of your fingers. So once you've got the fingers all nice and warmed up, the next thing we're going to do is put it down on the table and we're going to roll it in a ball. And again, this rolling is quite tricky for children. Their balls won't look as good as Jackie and I's, but they're beginning to balance the ball in their palm of their hand. And they're also in the middle of their midline, so they could easily be.
And sometimes they can't go round and round, so they'll be going back and forth. But they're trying, they're working like they can.
And you're going to then tell them to use the left hand. So that even gets trickier, because most children go to the dominant hand first, so you're working both hands. Okay. So when you think everybody's got themselves a nice ball, the next step is pounding.
Sometimes you can insert a chant in, make it a little bit more fun when you're pounding the ball. So I have them put it on the table and I tell them hands up. That way I know their hands are off the Play-Doh. I have them put one hand down, one hand out, squeeze it tight, and this is the chant that I use. It goes like this. Pound, 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 stop. Change hands. Make a fist. Pound, 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 stop. Change hands. So I'm working both hands, both sides of the body, both sides of the brain. And then I'll vary it. I might go to smacking, I might go to chopping, I might go to tapping, and sometimes we even insert a little fun like elbows, but make sure you pull up those sleeves before you do the elbows, or the chin, and that's a lot of fun. Even the cheeks sometimes, because they'll look at each other while they're doing the pound pound with their cheeks and they start giggling. It's just something to add a little fun. So you can make up your own chant, or you're welcome to use that one too. It kind of adds a lot of fun to it.
Well, add some spice, but again, we're looking for them to be following directions too. So from one thing to the next, you're seeing who can follow directions and who does have the skill level that it takes to play the Play-Doh. So next is the good old, we gotta roll snakes. So all those are on our evals. Again, some children's pressures are not quite the same. You'll be walking around the table with your own Play-Doh, helping to show them how to balance their hands and to make a snake. And that, again, takes a lot of time and effort from the children to be able to make a snake.
And you can build their vocabulary as far as forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. You can make it short, you can make it long. Sometimes it's fun to see how long they can make it.
You can make it fat and you can make it skinny. So now you're trying to stretch this learning process where you're really working their hands. You can roll it with one hand, two hands. So you're stretching it out to 15 to 20 minutes where it is truly a teacher-directed. From the snake, you can cut it in half, make two balls, cut it in half again, make another half. So lots of great language can go on there. You also can make letters with it at that time. So we're talking about the letter A. At the end of the curriculum, though, it does talk a lot about making things with the Play-Doh. So on AA week, it talks about making bananas. So this would be the time at that 15 to 20 minute mark to start making bananas. or to make, let's see, Bear Week, we talked about large, medium, and small. So you could, it says to do those things, so that would be the time to do that. And then, after you've gotten everybody to be as creative as they can, making balls or bananas or ropes or whatever it might say, then they get to do whatever they choose to do. And you're looking to see how creative the children can be.
So during all this, you're watching them, seeing who can listen, who can follow directions. And at the end, it's really important to have them do whatever they want with the Play-Doh, because they're waiting that whole time sometimes to do that. They want to be creative. They want to show you what they can do with the Play-Doh.
But by then, their muscles are all warmed up and they're really growing strength in their hands, getting ready for all that pre-writing that's coming next in their lives. So
coordination, eye-hand coordination, and it builds up a lot of confidence too. It builds those fingers, so all those pre-writing skills, whether you're using the pencils and even the scissors, it builds up all those muscles in the hands and fingers.
Yep. And thanks very much for joining us for some Play-Doh play. Thanks.
Have fun.